What's up, Lifetech fam? Today we're going to be showing you how to do spark plugs on a 2012 Nissan Versa. This is going to be a 1.8 4-cylinder, and it should be the same for most Versas. So let's get started. I'll show you how it's done. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do to get to the spark plugs is remove all the things that are in your way to take off the plenum. You're going to have to take off the plenum in order to take the spark plugs out. So the first thing you're going to have to do is take out these push pins right here. So basically it's a push pin like this, and all you do is lift up on the tab and pulls right out. I've already taken off most of the stuff for time's sake, but take off this air cleaner unit right here. After you take off that, you're going to loosen two 8mm bolts and take off a hose. There's a clamp right here. There's a clamp right here that attaches to the top of the valve cover. Loosen the two 8s and take it out. Okay, the next thing you have to do after you take off the intake hose is you're going to have to remove the throttle body here. The throttle body basically is 4 8mm bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take off the 8 bolts, remove this hose here from the EGR hose, or it's probably some type of solenoid, vacuum solenoid. Take off that hose, remove off the throttle body here, and now it's free from the intake plenum. And then after that, you're going to have to remove the clip that goes to the vacuum solenoid here. Okay, the next step you're going to have to do is remove the intake plenum bolts. It should be 2, 4, about 5 10mm bolts. As you can see, there's one here, 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 and there's one right behind this. Let's see, right there. So loosen those up, and then there's one more bolt on the back side. Let me show you guys. Right here is probably going to be a 12mm, yeah, most likely a 12mm bolt that you have to remove that's attached to the intake. So once you take off most of those, the intake should come off. Let's get to it. So we're going to start removing these 10mm bolts here. One on the left. One is on the top here. One is right here, right in front of the dipstick. Remove the dipstick so you can get access to it. And just check to make sure that all your bolts are the same, just in case, but in this case I think they are. Okay, now that we have all the front bolts taken off, we have to take off this last little back 12mm nut, which is right about there. So you're going to remove this hose out of the way. Be careful because it's attached to the PCV valve. You don't want to break that. Do it from the front side since the front side's the nut. Get it on there. Give it a good couple taps. And if it's turning like this one is, you got to get a wrench. Put the wrench on the back side. I'll show you. Okay, so I got my 12 wrench on there. And usually you can just squeeze them together just like that, and it should just come right out. So once you have that out, you can go ahead and loosen the nut right here, and you should be able to remove it. I'll show you if I run into anything. Okay, there is a hose you have to remove. The hose is right there. Just take the clamp off, pull the hose off. Okay, now the tool that you're going to need to replace the spark plugs is a 14 millimeter deep socket with about a 6-inch extension, 3/8 ratchet. Fits right in there perfectly, and you can start twisting it off. It's not the traditional 5/8. The 5/8 is a little bit bigger for older model vehicles. Newer model vehicles are going to use the 14 5-point or 6-point. So let's go ahead and take those off for you. Go ahead and use my electric ratchet. Just basically unscrew all of them. Now the way I get them out is you can use needle nose pliers, but I use a magnet. Just put your magnet in there and it pulls the spark plugs right up. All 4 are removed. Well, we got our new spark plug set here. We're going to use some Denso Iridium. This is the OE spec. Part number is IXEH20TT number 4. Yeah. I like to open up all my spark plugs the same way. Hold all the spark plug boxes like this in a row, pop those open, flip them over, and there you have all 4 of your spark plugs. Just a little easy way to remove your spark plugs from the boxes. So now I just want to grab the old spark plug and the new one, match it up, and make sure they're the same. And you can tell that the old one, the gap is a little bit off as opposed to the new one. So this is a good time to change the spark plug since this car is about 88,000 miles. So now take your spark plug, just hold it by the porcelain tip and just kind of assist them in there. You don't want to drop them in just for the risk of just changing the gap, or if it hitting the bottom and changing the gap a little bit. But these already come pre-gapped, so you don't need to gap them. So place them all in there and tighten them up. We're just going to get them just tight enough, and then we'll hand tighten. So now that I got them all tightened down a little bit, you're just going to hand tighten with your hand ratchet. Just a couple turns, not too tight. I'd say maybe like 15 to 20 pounds pressure. Not super tight, but not loose. As you can tell, that's pretty much all it needs right there. Just a couple turns. Once they're tight, you can put back the ignition coils. Ignition coil 1 here, ignition coil 2, 3, and 4. Just go ahead and push them down all the way, put the screws back in. And that's basically how you do a spark plug replacement on a 2012 Nissan Versa. It should be the same for maybe 2008 to 2012, maybe 14. Reverse the process when you're putting everything back. Make sure you have all your bolts to put the intake on. And that's the spark plug replacement for you. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.